Hey everybody, happy Super Bowl week. You guys already having fun? How many Chiefs fans do we have in here? Oh, wow. Man, I hope this isn't being filmed. How many Eagles fans? Oh, a lot of Birds fans. All right. Well, it promises, listen, I love all the teams, of course, all 32, but I do think we have got the best teams here for this game, so I think it's going to be an amazing game, an amazing week. The energy here, you can feel it. I have a special relationship with this city. My wife comes from New Orleans, and so I kind of made it my second home quite a while ago. We have a place here, my happy place. I always tell people it's my happy place. It's just like the food, the music, the energy, the art, the food, the music, the food. No. I really love this place, so I'm really happy that we can do this. And for those of you who are going to the game, you can just walk to the game if you're anywhere near the quarter, which is pretty awesome as well. So I'm happy to be here. I have, another special relationship with Big Brothers Big Sisters. We'll hear more about that. And Dawn, who's going to host this, I want to welcome her. Dawn and the NFL did an incredible ad last year for the Super Bowl that was all focused on children. We're going to talk more about that today and this week, more about mentoring of children. But it's an area for us within our Inspire Change initiative that we continue to focus. So it's important to us. We cannot do it without the support of all of our partners. So I'm going to hand it over to Dawn, and we'll get this going.
Thank you, Tim. And thank you, everybody. I am honored to sit on this panel with these impactful individuals just creating work across the country to empower our youth, and really want to celebrate the I Am Somebody commercial that a lot of you in this room probably saw, and talk through just what it means to be able to have that moment in time with our youth and be able to be a mentor both from a business level, but also Big Brothers, Big Sisters, being able to come in and raise these children's values and empower them to be able to see what they can be and have that opportunity to sit here with you all. So I would love to kick us off maybe with Marissa. Can you talk a little bit about how Big Brothers Big Sister is special to you and what the commercial meant for you to have this as the NFL commercial this year for cause marketing?
For sure. I mean, first of all, just setting a little bit of context, every Super Bowl, we as the NFL like to put two major messages out there. We like to talk about the joy of the game and how awesome and exciting it is, but we also like to talk about how we transcend the game, because it's so important to always talk about how we uplift the communities that we serve, as we did with you. This year, this one was very, very special, particularly special, I think, for both Tim and I in a very personal way. And there's nothing, I think you guys would agree with me as marketers, there's nothing more special than being able to do work that not only impacts the community, but is deeply, deeply personal to you. So I have been connected with Big Brothers Big Sisters for over 40 years. I was a little when I was, 10 years old. And there was someone when I was 10 years old, as an immigrant from Mexico City, growing up in South Texas, who believed in me. And it's because of that that I was able to accomplish so many, many things in my life. And the power of that individual believing in me is immense. And the power of mentoring and believing in young people is immense. And I think you'll hear from our partners, it's no secret, we are living in a bit of a crisis of mentorship. Kids desperately need guidance and positivity in their lives. And so it's so, so important that everybody takes the time to mentor someone. So that's what this message is about. It's very, very special to me. I was a little, I was in a big. I'm now a game changer, and so there it is. We'll talk a little bit more. But
What she didn't say is last year she was inducted into the Hall of Fame for Big Brothers Big Sisters, so she should have said that. Yeah.
Thank you, Marissa. At EVERFI, we create software that helps with the missing learning layer. So the character playbook course that the NFL sponsors has to date reached 3 million students, and we've been about almost a decade in together. So really being able to celebrate that partnership, and then a new partnership with Big Brothers Big Sisters this year, launching in the Gulf Coast around our 306, exploring African American history and stories and lives lived. Is really an honor to be able to do that with you all too, and look at our youth like we did in the commercial last year. What can you tell us about this year's commercial, Tim, that was the empowerment piece that kicked you all off in the creative?
Yeah, every year we really think deeply about what should the NFL come out with this year, right? So Marissa said that we have our sort of joy of the game, if you will, and then how we transcend the game, and that how we transcend the game and the force for good messaging that we put out there is very important. We work closely with our partners, 72 and Sunny. Damien, of course, works for 72, and some of the folks here, the leadership team is here. And that area of focus for us, we always think about what's most needed in the country today because of the platform that we have, because of the ability to reach so many and to influence so many. And I think this year we felt like the mentorship of children and the development, the positive development of children has never been so important, right? There's a real need for leadership there. So we went about together to sort of begin to develop ideas and concepts and so forth. And so the team came up with an idea. It was really grounded in a poem that they found by the Reverend Jesse Jackson on Sesame Street, right? I mean, this really beautiful. Everybody who listened to it kind of like teared up when they heard it because it was just so touching. And it was amazing how it just sort of like, it was timeless, right? It was, I think it was from the 70s or something, Glenn, or something like that? Yeah, from the 70s. And it was as, sort of inspiring and relevant and relatable today as it was back then. So we sort of, the team created a really big idea out of that. And we actually used the words that the Reverend had used in that ad and brought it to life, as we always do with our players. We have a helmets off strategy where we have our players be the face of the league, which gives us a more human, authentic, and compassionate voice from the league. And so we focus the messaging around the mentoring, right, and some of our other partners who are developing children. But Big Brothers Big Sisters was a big part of this mess because they just do so much good. You're going to hear more about that in a moment. And then we brought it to life through players and through, I think, quite a beautiful expression in New Orleans, here in the city of New Orleans. And you'll hear more about that because New Orleans, we're bringing back Big Brothers Big Sisters here for the first time since Katrina. So are we going to be able to show the spot? Yeah, I'd love to show it. It's going to be on the Super Bowl, and we debuted it in the conference championships, NFC, AFC championships. And I can tell you that the judge for yourself here, of course, but the impact that we've gotten is amazing, right? With how we've all heard and what we've seen online about how people have really, everybody is really sort of, it's united people in terms of how they interact with this ad.
All right, ready, you guys? You guys gotta be loud, though, okay?
Let's go! Let's go!
Okay, repeat after me.
Yes, sir.
I am
Somebody.
I may be young, but I am somebody.
Somebody.
I may be small,
I may be small,
but I am.
somebody.
My clothes are different.
My clothes are different.
My face is different.
My face is different.
My hair is different.
My hair is different.
But I am.
Somebody.
Somebody.
I must be respected.
I must be respected.
Protected.
Protected.
Never rejected.
Never rejected.
But I
I am.
Somebody.
Somebody.
I am. Somebody. I am. Somebody. I am. Somebody. I am.
Somebody.
That was beautiful. Artis and Adam, can you talk a little bit about the work that Big Brothers Big Sisters has done so far with Inspire Change in the NFL and what empowerment you've seen there?
Yeah, first of all, let me just say, just so excited to be here, and thanks to Brand Innovators for having us back on the stage, and thanks to our incredible partners at the NFL, like Tim, Marissa, your leadership and the work and the partnership that we built has been truly amazing, and this is just one piece of that, a big piece, but one piece of evidence of that. Here's where I'll start, and certainly, Adam and I will tag team this. But I want to start with what you just saw, right? Because the young people that you saw in this video, in this PSA, was young people that were from the New Orleans area, right? The greater New Orleans area. Why is that so important? And Tim just hit on it, is that we serve 5,000 communities all across the country, largest youth mentoring organization in the country. There is one major city that we were not in, New Orleans, Louisiana, right? Until this week, because of partnership, because of resilience, because of the impact of a community coming together and saying, we need to do something to support our kids. You're talking about kids, 30% of the kids in New Orleans are live in poverty or near poverty, right? And what we've known for 120 years is the impact of mentorship to help young people to thrive and to burst through barriers in their lives. And this commercial, this piece, really shows the element of what we believe and what we preach every single moment in the experience of relationships that Marissa knows very well, is the idea that people can believe that I'm somebody, right? And that's what the encouragement does. And that's what our relationship with the NFL has been about. So we've been a longtime partner of the NFL's Inspire Change initiative, which is really driven around the idea of community impact and how we make change in the lives of the communities, the young people that we serve. And what we've tried to do is to build a partnership that, I know you all know this word, and we use this word a lot in the area of marketing and brand building, authenticity, right? But when I say that this partnership started on the level of authenticity, this is the reason why I feel like we have been so successful. So let me just give you a few examples. Every NFL team in the country has some connection with their local big brothers, big sisters on the ground. So we don't just show it in a spot. It's real, it's authentic, it's happening, so that what you see in media is what's happening locally in terms of the impact on the ground. And now we're going to be establishing that here in New Orleans as well. Secondly, when you look at NFL players, right, we have hundreds of NFL players who were in our program, right, who came from big brothers, it was a little or a big, coaches, right, people who were in our program. So the authenticity of the story is there because the product of the proof is right there in teams, in terms of players, in terms of staff, in terms of coaches, even from a leadership level, right? Roger Goodell is a big in our program and serves on the board of a local Big Brothers Big Sisters. Tim Ellis is my board member, serves on a national board, right? You just heard from Marissa, and I can tell you countless stories about people who've done this and engaged, and what they will tell you is they've made an incredible impact, but we know about this mission is that the little has just as much impact on the big as they have on the little. And that's what makes this really powerful as well. And that leads us into, what I feel like has been so incredible about the outcome of this relationship. Because we've taken the authenticity and said, well, how do we take our authenticity and ensure that we're creating value from both the purpose and social impact lens, but also through how do we think about creating value for the broader business of what we want to do. And that's really been the framework of some of our initiatives. And I know Adam will talk a little bit about that as well.
Thank you. And I think that that's the perfect example of if you can see it, you can be it. Marissa has a little and a big, and on Times Square, no less. I mean,
Once in a lifetime opportunity. That was awesome. Very, very cool.
Adam, so Super Bowl week is marking the big draft volunteer event. Can you talk about the involvement of Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and what we can expect from that, and how we can all participate?
Yeah, absolutely. So our relationship with the NFL Inspire Change Initiative started back in 2019. We were one of the first organizations awarded to be a part of the program. It's the NFL Social Justice Initiative, for anybody that's not familiar with it. The program began with foundation grants going to organizations like Big Brothers Big Sisters to carry out and to advance social justice, create access, break down barriers in communities across the country. At Big Brothers Big Sisters, we did that. We mobilized across all 32 markets. We've made tens of thousands of matches through our work with the NFL, bigs and littles in all 32 NFL markets. But we looked at each other and said, wow, we are working with the NFL. Like, what more 5 years ago? What more can we do to advance Inspire Change and to really maximize this partnership and also advance the values of the NFL? And so we looked around and we started to learn a lot more about their helmets off strategy, which highlights players in the community started to learn a lot more about their focus on flag football, and we said, we should create something that happens between the Super Bowl and the NFL draft. And we came up with this idea that's called the Big Draft. And so between Super Bowl and the NFL draft, which is roughly about 60 days, while the NFL's drafting their next generation of players, Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America is drafting the next generation of game-changing mentors in communities across the country. We created this campaign, we launched it, we were excited in 2020, but everybody knows what happens in the spring of 2020, right? And so we came right back the next year and we said, we're going to do this again, we're going to try it again. I'm excited to share that after 5 years of doing the campaign, we have signed up, and we started with a waiting list of 30,000 youth. We said, let's create the Big Draft, let's recruit volunteers because we have 30,000 kids currently waiting across the country. In the last 5 years, during the Big Draft campaign alone, we've signed up 70,000 mentors across the country. And this is where that helmets off strategy is so brilliant and comes into play, is that this isn't a significant media spin that we're making, because that's not what we're doing. What we're doing is harnessing the power of NFL players, their voices, their platforms, and their authentic connection to tell stories about mentorship and those caring adults that help them achieve the potential that they are reaching today. And so throughout the campaign, we've had Fred Warner, we've had RG3, we've had Trevor Lawrence all participate and share their mentorship stories, and that's been the driving force behind the Big Draft. And this year, our goal, we have a lofty goal of 15,000 signups. Last year, we set a goal of 10,000. We signed up 14,000. This year, our big goal is 15,000. And so this is my plug to say, if you're in this room, you can help us do this. Join us.
And the Big Draft is something that, like you said, everybody can help support. And I think that that's what's so great about the power that we all have in this room and the marketing that we do, but also the impact that we can have from where we sit, to be able to hear stories like this and find ways to give back and really just look at individuals like you all who are doing that every day. So glad that you put that out to the group. Are we going to show any more slides? No? Okay, great. So during the Brand Innovators Summit in December, Ryan Deaton announced the Changemakers Challenge. Do you want to take that one, Artis?
Yeah, I'll take it. So here's sort of the way that we look at the idea of purpose, right? And all of you in this room know purpose, know the impact of mentorship in your own lives, right? You don't have to be in Big Brothers Big Sisters to know mentorship. That's something that is so accessible to all of us growing up in lives, or we provided it in someone else's life. And yet, there are 10 million kids in this country today that don't have access to a positive mentor in their lives. And many of these kids live near in poverty, face educational barriers and gaps. We also know that they struggle, a lot of times, with isolation or mental health. And they're all across our country, and they look and come from communities of every perspective and persuasion that you can imagine. And it was something that we were thinking about as we started to talk about our 120th anniversary. So we just celebrated 120 years in December. And the idea was, well, what if we could take this concept of mentorship, not just as a nice to do, but as a necessity, because we know it's a necessity in young people's life. And we just had research that speaks to this that we released that was really done through Harvard University, looking at U.S. Department of Treasury data that said that kids who were mentored, 20% more likely to go to college, 15% more earning power, and become more financially independent. They are less likely to be dependent on government assistance and social service. And here's the big one, that a kid who is mentored closes the socioeconomic gap. So what we looked at and saw with 30 years of data is that kids who were in lower income households, when they were mentored by someone with a higher income, they were more likely to grow up as an adult and earn an income that was more likely to their mentor, right? So think about the power that possesses, and the power that each individual and the power that brands and companies have to influence that. So we thought, and we had an incredible board member and leader, Ryan Dieter, who's part of Brand Innovators as well, as the team talked about, who said, well, what if we could take this and harness it and create this platform where anyone could become a change maker? And Ryan said, I'm going to start, and I'm going to make a commitment first, and a financial commitment. And he made a commitment to Big Brothers Big Sisters of $1 million. and it was profound, but he said we needed to do more. He said everybody can do something in their own way. So what if I create this challenge where I commit to $1 million, but I'm going to ask the media, the marketing, the advertising community to all match into this financial donation. And yet, what we're also going to do is say, well, if we got the power to tell stories and influence and to get more people to become mentors, more people to change lives, well, let's create a goal of $100 million media inventory that can be used to tell stories like that incredible PSA and advertising that you just saw, that we can tell much more broadly so that we can get more people to support work like this in their communities. So the Changemakers Challenge is going to allow us to do that. And it's going to allow for companies and brands to come together and say, here's how we can involve our employees. Here's how we can be harnessed and create power, empowerment in our communities. And what we're looking to do is over the course of this year, we're going to ask and engage. And if you're interested in becoming both an individual supporter, but also from a partnership standpoint, we're going to ask your support to join this community, to join this village. And then we're going to host a big event, we're calling the Big Benefit in New York, September the 30th, where we're going to bring this entire community of celebrities, advocates, innovators, young people together to celebrate 120 years of our mission, but also a century moving forward for how we can change lives. So we're really excited about the work ahead, and we're really excited about the opportunity for folks in this room and others to help join and make change.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I'm clearly living proof that it works. I mean, it made such an impact in my life. And what I love about this organization, it's big and little, and big and little, and the juxtaposition of big and little. Everything Artis just said is big things happening to support the organization. I also want to advocate for the little, which is every one of you in this room can just give time, a little bit of time, to somebody and be a role model, especially, I will say, young women. There are so many young girls that need a role model, somebody to look up to, and I think that was part of the Times Square thing. There's, I think, is it 15 women? There's 15 women that are part of their Women Game Changers, that have given their time, and so the big stuff is big and it will be awesome. The little things that you can do, you don't have to give $1 million. Please do if you have it. But you don't have to. You can do little to create big impact. So,
Marissa
and we should
talked about our campaign too. It takes little to be big, right? And just want to know, like, for those who are interested in getting involved, no matter what that engagement to get involved in, as Marissa just said, we have thousands of people who volunteer their time and get engaged, and we have thousands of people who say, hey, I want to find ways to get engaged by giving or getting my company involved. If you're interested, we have this QR code that you can swipe easily just to learn more, right? It doesn't mean that you have to commit on day one, but if you're interested in learning more and exploring how you get involved, there are ways that you can take steps.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if you make decisions on media, and probably a lot of you in here do, you can directly have an impact on this, because that's a lot of what we're trying to inspire you to do to get on board. The other thing I wanted to say is, like, if any of you listen to some of the questions and answers and everything the commissioner had this week, every time we go to a Super Bowl, there's always the beginning of the week. You have all the teams come out, fans get to see the teams and all that, and then you have a big press event with the commissioner. And not surprisingly, a lot of people are asking him about, our initiatives around cause and diversity and inclusion and so forth. And he said something which I just want to bring up here, which I think is very important. He said, listen, these are our beliefs, our values. This is who we are as a company, and therefore that's how we behave. This isn't something we dip into and then we dip out of again. So we're not reacting to trends to jump in, and now the trends go in the other direction, so we're now going to go that direction. I think that's incredibly important and well said. And certainly what I have learned in this is that if you're committed, if it's connected to your values in terms of how you work with these types of partners and these types of opportunities, really is a magnet for others to join you, and it helps your business. It drives your business in a positive direction. There's not like a choice to be made. Either you focus on these philanthropic things and opportunities, or you decide to focus on your business. I can tell you right now that everything that we do with all of our partners, and the NFL is incredibly committed. We spend over $500 million a year between the league and our 32 teams on giving back in various initiatives. And that has only worked to sort of strengthen our company and strengthen our fan base and therefore strengthen our business. We brought in more people who want to be a part of the NFL. We've got more ambassadors. We sell more tickets. We sell more, products. You name it, right? It just helped us be bigger and stronger, which has then helped us be even more influential in these types of endeavors. So I think a lot of our partners, Procter & Gamble is another big partner of ours. I know Mark and I have the same belief on this thing. We should not look at it as an either or. You look at it as how you involve yourself, how you drive your own mission, which is connected to your values in a way that drives your business forward. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you. And I think we're about 2 minutes left. 4 minutes. Perfect. Do we want to open it up to any questions? Anybody have any questions?
I can't answer that. Everybody thinks you know anyway. Hey, by the way, speaking of that, did you guys know that Nick Cage used to live here? This is so weird. As soon as I heard that, I was like walking around thinking like, okay, well, now I really want to know what this house is all about. No, we just won a great game. We think we're going to have a great game. Again, it's important for us to have the players be in the forefront and to sort of be the driving force of with the fans and be the excitement. Everyone asks about Taylor Swift. I have no idea what her itinerary is. I do know that she's gonna be here. If you're wondering, yeah, of course we love Taylor Swift. She's been great for a very important part of our fan base. Particularly the 12 to 24-year-old girls love her. She's I personally think she's just a great ambassador overall, and a great role model for girls and women. And I think that we're happy to have her as part of our team. She essentially helped us grow about 30% of our 8 to 12 segment. Right? Sorry, 8 to 24 segment, which is is about 12% of our business. So it was meaningful, right? So anyway, I sort of proactively hit the Taylor Swift question.
You covered it.
What else? What else do you guys want to know?
One more question.
Well, it's all the above, first of all, but I will speak to just where we've been and what we've seen in trends, right? So we've had, as Adam mentioned, 30,000 kids on our waiting list, right? Traditionally, most of those kids are boys, right? So the families have asked for more men, right, as mentors, right? And that's why the work that we were doing with the NFL, it was created when Adam talked about the initiative of the big draft. It was created with the idea of, hey, we can do something purposeful that has engagement for the players, that has impact for the community, and also get consumers and customers engaged in a way that's meaningful. Win, 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 right? And that's, your question's a really good one, because when we talk about solving problems, right, I think a lot of people look at, hey, how do you solve things? And is there really, there's a good thing to do and we're doing a good thing? Absolutely. But solving, not is just the idea of solving, meaning that we're impacting kids. That's a big part of it. That's our primary part. But it makes you better, right? And I think that's the real equation that we're talking about when we talk about mentorship. Mentorship is not a one-way street. So even when we talk about reaching more boys in our community, what we've heard from men is, I've gotten better. I've been able to engage much more successfully in my community. I've become much more broad in my work, right? When we've seen growth in women as leaders, they've said it allows me to have an opportunity to engage and bring young women and girls up so that they have a trailblazing path that they can see as well. And it's the same thing that goes for companies. We don't walk into the door and say, hey, can you give us money or can you give us resources? We say, how do we create solutions together? How do we create value together so your employees have better morale, so you create a talent pipeline, so you have much more of a halo effect and the power that you can do in communities, that your customers, when they come into and say, hey, I feel good about what I'm doing in terms of products or being at point of purchase, right? That's the idea of everything that we're talking about on the stage. And that's the type of partnership we built with the NFL, one that's really comprehensive and then ultimately gets to solving solutions and making sure those solutions are sustainable.
I think we have to wrap, but I believe you'll be here for another question.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you all for inspiring change right here.